So hi everyone, and welcome to Wildcard Wednesday. So glad that you could join us today. My name is Sue Miller, broadcast producer here at Geotab, and your host for today's introduction and update to Geotab's data and analytics product suite. We have a great presentation today, and let's welcome Avi Nuranan, Product Manager for Analytics Lab, and Brendan Wiggins, Senior Product Manager of Fleet Data Insights. So Avi, please kick us off today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sue, and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for being here today as we walk through it. So for the course of today, we're going to take you through a few key main sections. We're going to talk about what Analytics Lab and Active Insights are, do a quick history lesson of how they came to be, how everything is connected, and then talk about the experiments themselves. We're going to look at the features currently available in both platforms, as well as do a quick demo focusing on a few specific experiments. And then we're going to conclude with a next steps and overall call to action regarding what we want to do with the platform and where we want to take it. So let's do a quick introduction for myself and Brendan. So for me, Abby, I'm a data product guy by day, but a musician and pop culture guy by night. I have a corgi that my girlfriend and I both are raising from a puppy, and I love telling stories full time. So now I'm happy to turn it over to Brendan to quickly introduce himself as well.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. I'm Brendan Wiggins. I am the Senior Product Manager for Fleet Data Insights. And I've somewhat new to Geotab, but not new to Geotab, in that I was a customer of Geotab for about 10 years before coming over here to Geotab and working on our DNA team on all of our great data and other analytics work that we're doing to support the business. For about 10 years before that, I was involved in data-driven decision-making across all different elements of fleet management. Now I try and focus as much as I can on my hobbies of being a motorsport fan and kind of a gearhead, and also spend some time watching Star Trek late at night. So excited to talk to everybody today.
So let's quickly talk about Analytics Lab and how it came to be. It started off as a back-of-the-napkin idea that was a place for data solutions and data product discovery, so our teams within Geotab to come together and create a way for customers to directly engage with their own data in neat insights and in neat productized ways. So this is how the idea of the MVP really took hold, and Analytics Lab really came to be as a platform to host these in a sandbox in which we can put experiments up there so that customers and even folks internally can go in and play with their data and see just what we can do with it.
And so when we were looking at at Analytics Lab and all the great outputs we had of all these models we were building and value we were adding with data across Geotab, we kind of discovered that there was a gap on how do we make it easy and accessible for customers to both identify where they have these opportunities and then steer them to it. So Active Insights really came out of that goal. How do we program an AI fleet manager for you to go and identify where do you have the most opportunity in your fleet? How can you leverage some of these new tools and abilities that we're putting together for Geotab and really make it a more seamless experience for you to go and recognize that value of the subscription you're already paying for Geotab and really actually deliver on that value proposition.
Excellent. And yeah, just to reiterate, both Analytics Lab and Active Insights are both available within my Geotab, and we'll showcase that in the demo. So as far as the product flow and how it all goes together, Analytics Lab is really a scouting ground for experiments and data insights that we find within our data based on two things. One, a outside customer need, what we're hearing common across a whole bunch of different industries and geographies, as well as internally when we have folks within the business pulling together these different data insights and want a place to surface it to customers to gauge interest and value. And then anything that we find really sticks and takes a hold will be promoted into an Active Insights feature. So it actually becomes part of the concierge service within my Geotab. But ultimately where we want to get to is scouting products that'll be an overall MyG enhancement to support the entire ecosystem. So that is the overall product flow of how we really want to find these insights that we can ultimately develop into a whole-scale product offering. In terms of experiment graduation on how things actually get there, an experiment finishing its life in Analytics Lab leads to a few different outcomes. It could go back to the research team. So rather than being promoted to a future product feature, it'll be taken back for learnings and future experiments. it could go to Active Insights, in which case it'll be elevated to some of those key opportunities, as Brendan was mentioning, and may further flow into that larger My Geotab ecosystem. Or it could go right to core product, in which they're part of a holistic product offering being worked across the business and is part of a larger organizational roadmap. So let's talk about Analytics Lab itself. As we mentioned, Analytics Lab is a sandbox at its core, and that is the spirit of the platform. We want to be an approachable and intuitive platform in which rapid prototypes are available for both customers and colleagues to engage with us and be a part of our roadmap. And then what we want to do from a mission perspective is really surface those meaningful, relevant, and actionable insights with the potential of productization to keep drivers safer and to get the most out of the fleets in general. The current experiments that we have up currently are the following. We have the safety benchmarking experience, which really looks at a customer's safety scores against their peers to better provide actionable safety insights. So we provide this both at a fleet level and a vehicle level. And this will be part of the demo that we'll be doing shortly. The next experiment we currently have is a collision detection experiment, which will also be part of the demo. And this actually surfaces potential collision experiments that are detected by our experiment, and that looks at GPS data, accelerometer data, and then provides an event in which it provides all these different details and indicates whether it's a potential collision or not by way of the score. The roadmap for this involves minor collision detection, reducing overall false positive and negatives, being able to identify bad installs, and so on as part of the broader safety picture. Intelligent zoning is also the next experiment that we currently have. It recommends new zones based on the vehicle stop data and driving patterns, and really allows for some time savings on zone management. So it recommends to you, based on trends in your driving behavior, what potential zones may be. It also allows for manual reporting of zones based on any requirements as well. And since this is actually a feature that already exists within Active Insights, it will be deprecated as an Analytics Lab experiment in the near future, so that it is fully cemented as a new product feature. And then lastly, within Analytics Lab today, we have what's called the API Explorer. And this is really a way to directly pull any of the data that we provide in a JSON format. So this is if you're a little bit more technically savvy, you can go right into it, open up the hood, pull exactly what data you need into your endpoint. The thing with the APIs, though, it is a beta catalog and subject to change. But for the most part, the APIs are a way for you to directly go in and get what you need. Time to quickly go into a quick demo, and I'm going to share my screen. So to get to Analytics Lab as well as Active Insights, on the left menu here within My Geotab, if you look under Dashboard and Analytics, it'll be the third and fourth option respectively. So if you click into it, it'll open up directly into the Analytics Lab platform, where you'll be given these experiment cards. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to cover the safety benchmarking experiment, as well as the collision detection experiments. So within safety benchmarking, this experiment, as I mentioned, is really a tool to be able to view your score, your fleet safety score relative to other fleets, as well as vehicles within it relative to other vehicles. And because of the way that we've developed it, you're only seeing your data, but our benchmarking is across the aggregated data within our entire Geotab ecosystem. And we actually have a methodology within the peer groups that we actually compare it to as well. So that when we're analyzing it, it's a little bit more specific than make, model, year. It's a little bit more specific around driving behavior, a little bit more involved. And that is definitely, if people are interested in that explanation, we can definitely be reached out to further explain that. So within this tool, you're able to select the date range in which you can view your safety score over time. You'll have a few options up here for learning more about the experiment, as well as a user guide. And then within all of our experiments, we ask that you give us feedback so we can continually improve on each of these solutions so that we can better the overall product offering. So within the safety benchmarks offering, the first tab here is showcasing your overall safety performance over time at the fleet level. So showcasing where you are relative to the benchmark established, as well as where you are relative to the best in class of your particular peer group. And then over time, you'll be able to actually see increases and decreases. And as far as how the safety score is calculated, the high level, it's looked at across 5 key safety indicators: harsh braking, acceleration, cornering, speeding, and seatbelt. So these events will give you a sense of how to tweak some of these levers to better overall your safety performance. Then you're able to also look at how certain events are affected over time and see how, if there's any events that require any specific attention. And then lastly, new as of a couple months ago, we've launched a vehicle level, which actually allows you to go into specific vehicles and get the same level of information, such as by event, and then looking at its rank relative to the rest of the vehicles within the fleet. So this tool is a really helpful tool to get a quick glance at safety for a fleet and vehicle level. And you'll actually be able to take that information into something like the collision detection tool. So this tool, this takes data such as GPS data and accelerometer data and actually surfaces potential collision events based on rules that are already inbuilt. These can be manually set, or we have standard rules as well that determine if it's a potential collision or not, depending on the score. So on the right, you'll also get to see at a summary what the collision summary looks like. And if you click into an individual event, you'll actually be able to see things like what vehicle was involved in it, where it was, what device it was, what was actually happening in terms of the vehicle traveling, as well as look at the engine data and the speed data as well. We do also have part of within the marketplace a third party or an add-on, excuse me, for accident reconstruction to also help better showcase some collision detail. So these are some of the experiments that we've put out in Analytics Lab to just really give the users the ability to go in and experience their own data and start to draw some of those own insights and take it back. So now I'll pass it to Brendan to talk about Active Insights.
Thanks, Zabi. So Active Insights, like we said earlier, is really meant to be kind of this turnkey intelligence engine, right? So we want to remove as many barriers as we can to you recognizing value across all the different areas of the Geotab ecosystem, and specifically focused on some of the outputs from the Analytics Lab team and the rest of the DNA organization. So as we put this different functionality in different parts of the organization or in different parts of the product offering, we also want to add it to Active Insights to give you an easy to understand way to steer you towards that opportunity, and also rank order that opportunity based on how much do we think that you have in your fleet compared to the 2.8 million other vehicles we have in the Geotab ecosystem. So we're going to go look at opportunities inside your fleet and also opportunities for your fleet when we look at similar fleets and similar vehicles across the ecosystem. We're actually going to be ranking those as well. So when you log into Active Insights, you'll see that those will start to be ranked in terms of the ROI opportunity as we continue to have more of these cards that are flowing in. So really the idea is that you'll plug your devices in. Based on the activity that you're doing on your day-to-day basis, running your business, Geotab is going to learn things about your business. What types of duty cycles do you own? What types of vehicles do you operate? And start to identify those digital twins that we can go and benchmark you with. We're going to give you those easy click-through action paths to go and realize that value. So you'll see there will be a lot of, and one-button clicks to go and turn on a rule for this, or go add this add-in. Go run this report or schedule this report. Really easy action paths to go and recognize this value, and really focusing on those areas of opportunity. So sustainability, efficiency, and safety are the three big ones. A lot of those will distill down to a dollar figure, but also there's a lot of folks who are very focused on say greenhouse gas reduction, right? Or certain industries are much more focused on reliability than the dollar value of reliability, right? A vehicle uptime is very, very important, so we can focus on just reliability. So depending on the insight that we have in here, we might rank order them different ways and giving you different slices at what is that opportunity for you to go and capture. We have a kind of a baseline integration with the rules engine. So most of these data insights that we go and build that are coming out of Analytics Lab will have an element of what we call big data status, but basically where we take the information and distill it into status data. If you're familiar with the API or the SDK, where so in the Geotab platform, you can go and create rules and run reports, everything that you would do with any other measurement that we're giving you. All the big data outputs will function in a very similar way. So it gives you really all of the tools that you get with my Geotab. And then also just a last piece of, if you're out there and you're looking for Active Insights in your database right now as you're riding along with us and you don't see it under dashboard and analytics here, you may be on just an older version. So it was in this release cycle that we exited what we call feature preview. So if you don't see Active Insights in your database today, likely all you need to do is go into your user profile and turn on feature preview, and then you should see it pop through there in the sidebar. But as of this release, so when you're on the most current version of my Geotab, it is in the full version of the product. So it is in the core product. You shouldn't need to go turn anything on unless you're one version old, in which case you got to do feature preview. So the first card we're going to look at here for Active Insights is electrical system rating. So this was a very exciting project that we worked on to go look at vehicle reliability, right? This is kind of our first swing at true predictive maintenance and going beyond just being better at preventative maintenance and actually trying to identify a failure in progress and intercept it before you have a failure en route. So there was a lot of looking at which types of data do we want to go collect, and also which types of breakdowns are the most frequent and the highest dollar value. And electrical system no starts out in the market are kind of the number one opportunity. So we went to look at, can we identify a battery that's nearing the end of life of that battery? And what we discovered was that, by tracking cranking voltage over time, combined with a lot of other factors, we are able to see what you see there in the top right corner, right, where we're able to see that cranking voltage drop off over time. And when you replace the battery, you come right back up into range. So you kind of get these nice distributions of cranking voltage across populations of similar vehicles that we can go start to set alerts on. So we've translated this into what we call ESR, and really it's a 0 to 100 scale of vehicle health, of electrical system health based on our data. And it is in Active Insights in live today. So you could go in there and create a rule. So at any threshold of ESR, we recommend 15, but you can certainly go higher or lower than that. Is that once the vehicle drops below a certain threshold of what we consider the electrical system health, that it will send you an alert. So I'll show you in the demo here, but kind of an easy one-click button there to go and set up a rule or email notifications for ESR, as well as you can go in there and just actually see all those vehicles that have a potentially low ESR rating in the tool. Another thing we have out there in Active Insights today is collision detection. So Abhi talked about collision detection a little bit in terms of the Analytics Lab experiment version of that. But really what we did was we took all the learnings that we got out of that experiment and said, okay, well, how can we go and get this into the core product, right? So we moved it into Active Insights. There are some things you might see in the collision detection experiment that aren't here in Active Insights, but all the core functionality for you to go and recognize the value of our more accurate collision detection is going to be right here. So in a similar way, we're flowing this data into the My Geotab platform. You can set up rules on it. You can go look at reports for it. And Active Insights is going to be distilling this down and showing you when you have incidents that you might want to go review and give us feedback on, because we'll continuously iterate and get better at collision detection over time. But this is a pretty exciting functionality that we're going to be able to leverage here. So I am going to switch to a demo as well. This is the Active Insights page right here, but you're below the drop down right here under Dashboard and Analytics, you'll see Active Insights. We're right there with our little light bulb icon. And any of the insights that you have, and we'll continue to add these over time, where you'll see these insight cards will populate through. And as we continue to develop and have new things come into the product, we'll just add more and more cards here, and you'll start to see them get ranked also by the amount of opportunity that we think that you're going to have. But you'll see these three right here. It's actually not going to show you an insight unless we believe you have opportunity there. So the three that are here in our test database right now is we've got some intelligent zones here that we might want to go add. We've got some electrical system issues. Those are our ESR issues, and then collision detection. So if we click through to any one of these, you'll get to that individual insight. So we'll start here with electrical system rating. So when you click through into electrical system rating, you'll see a screen right here that's going to show you all your vehicles that potentially have a low ESR rating. And our default to identify it for you in Active Insights is 15. Like I said, you can customize that when you create your own rule, but we're going to show you any vehicle that we believe has a rating below 15 and is at risk of having a reliability incident. So you'll see the score right there of that ESR. I wouldn't focus on that as much of a percentile, right, and more of a 0 to 100 score. And also some basic information about that vehicle. You can go in here. Also, you can click resolve and dismiss You normally don't have to scroll over for this, is because I have it zoomed in for everybody, but you'll be able to give us some feedback on if you thought that was a valid event, or if you have any concerns with it. You can give us feedback right there. Otherwise, this is should be most everything you need to go do to go and put hands on that vehicle and see if there's any electrical system diagnostics that you need to go and do there. The other piece is right here on the top right, and all of the insights are going to work in a very similar way, is your action path. So we have this set up ESR rule and notifications here. So if you click through there, we're going to say, hey, we're going to send an email notification to you. It's based on your user. So you guys now know my email address. And when an ESR rating drops to 15 or less, right? So we can confirm that. And then if we want to, oh, it's kicking me out here. But if you want to, you can go and actually modify that rule as well. So if you don't want it to be an email, you want it to come through some other method, or you want to change that threshold, you can go and customize that rule as well. The other one that I was going to show us here was intelligent zones, which is also very exciting, an improvement in our ability to be able to learn about your business and identify maybe areas that you want to go track behavior in. So all of these zones here, these are in our test database, but you'll see that these are all zones that we think you might want to go add to your Geotab instance, to your database. So you can filter by city, you can also sort by a few other different filters, but if you click into any one of these, you'll see a preview here on the right-hand side of where we recommend that geofence should be, and you can go and add that directly to your MyGeotab platform at that point. So in a very similar way, it's going to identify where you might have something you want to go add, and then give you that kind of one-click path to get to that point.
So in terms of how you can get involved with us, I know we threw a lot of information with you today, but this is really us wanting to get into how we can provide your data back to you and help you, use it to be able to make some of these decisions and support decision making. And so ultimately, we want you to discuss with us. So tell us about your pain points, areas of interest, how you're currently using any data. Give us feedback. So tell us how we're doing, so we can continue to develop the product in a way that is really meaningful and gives you the most value from all the data we generate. And then, of course, we want to keep the conversation going, because at the end of the day, we want to be your strategic partners in threading data and analytics into making your fleets operate the best and get the most that we can out of them.
That was an awful lot to digest and some very exciting information. One of the first questions that we have is, can you explain that OEM data, if it's included or not in the scorecard, and is there a plan for including it?
I believe that question is referencing the OEM telematics, or call it other third-party device data, compared to actual Geotab Go device data. And it's a good question. So as of today, the only devices that are supported by Analytics Lab and Active Insights are Go devices. So we are not ingesting any of the third-party device data today. That is on our roadmap, likely for this year, where we'll start to expand that into some of the OEM telematics offerings, as well as some of the other third-party devices that we have out there in the wild. So it's definitely on our roadmap, but as of today, you do need to have a Go device in the vehicle to support this functionality.
Okay, terrific. Another question is, what version do we need for Active Insights without feature preview?
That is version 7.0.
Excellent. How quickly can the zone changes be recognized and created? Can it be used with the congregation report?
So, I think that's a great question. We might want to follow up a little bit with that, but you can set a time frame over which you want to look at potentially the clustering of stops to identify intelligent zones. So in that tool, you have some options about how long of a time period do you want to look at to identify those zones. But I think in general, we need about 2 to 3 weeks of data, and that's really even a kind of a broad brush answer, because if certain duty cycles you're making a lot of stops, we could do it a little bit more quickly, versus if the vehicle doesn't operate quite as often, it might take us a little bit longer. So it's tough to give you an exact answer how long we need to go and identify those zones, but it's pretty quickly. It's within a few weeks of normal business operations, we should be able to identify those common areas where we're stopping and we might want to create a zone.
Okay. Does ESR apply to EV batteries?
No. ESR does not apply to EVs today. We have a disclaimer when you're in there in the tool, it'll pop up for you and tell you that. But currently, hybrid vehicles and EVs are not supported by ESR. Electrical system rating is really focused on the 12-volt battery system in an internal combustion vehicle. That being said, we do have a pretty robust roadmap of predictive maintenance items that are coming to the forefront. So both supporting diesel, gasoline vehicles, as well as new fuel types. So EVs are a big focus, as well as some other options. We're looking at, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles and some of these other things. We're really keeping an eye on predictive maintenance wholesale across the whole industry. But no, EVs are not supported by ESR today.
Okay, and we do have one other question here. Can the benchmark and ecosystems be chosen by country or region to establish the analysis?
I can quickly answer that. Today, I don't believe so, but I think that is part of one of the items that we are looking at. So I can definitely take that away, and we can follow up further on that as well.
Okay. So that's a wrap for today's Wildcard Wednesday. And until next time, I'm Sue Miller, and on behalf of myself and everyone here at Geotab, thank you for joining us today. So we'll see you all next time. Same Geotab time, same Geotab channel.